Now, the Paterson itself, it seemed to me from the sort of popular scuttlebutt, was a place where all the even inhabitants were saying it's a dump, you know. And I said, no city is a dump. I won't put up with that. I'm going to go there and find out for myself about this city.
Paterson is a part of the United States, and every big city in the United States has gone through tremendous changes in the last post-war period, anyway, since the Second World War. The younger people moved in the suburbs. The old people left here. Ethnic from the South, black people came here, Puerto Ricans. They're good people, but they are low paid, and many of them are unemployed. My opinion of Paterson is not so glorious.
This city is 8.2 square miles, very small area, and the response by the police is so swift that a sore never develops into an ulcer. Coupled with that, we have within the city, throughout its strategic places, community police offices that are manned 24 hours a day. They're more than ombudsmen. They are actually dedicated men on the spot to solve the neighborhood problem. You know,
Does that represent a change in the police department?
Yes, it's about 3 to 4 years of age.
How did it happen?
It came about, actually, because we had an unfortunate incident which some of the people call a riot, others call it a civil disturbance. I call it just the bad luck for the city. Yes, there's been a great change in the population. A lot of people did the easy thing to do. They packed up and moved out of the town, left a void here, new groups coming in. Takes a little bit longer to educate them and for them to learn the ways of good citizenship. But we are making progress. I do there. For goodness sakes, I want to congratulate you very much. You've done a great job. A great job.
So are you.
Oh,
I always remember you.
Detective Kunzik.
Yes, sir.
I just got a telephone call from the... Come up here. Come over here, George. Come over here, George. I just got a call from the public defender. I want that fellow charged with larceny.
See you.
All right, dear.
Larceny?
To go OR. He's a college student from Rampoke College. He hasn't done too bad a situation. Let him go OR.
All right.
Villalobos, come over here a minute.
How you
On
doing,
that
Judge?
drug raid you made this morning, I want bail at $5,000. I want an immediate process for the grand jury. Is that clear?
Fine, fine.
And take that up with your people.
Thank you.
Hi, Judge.
I do, Commissioner.
Hi.
Detective Nativo. Curiously enough there, you saw something which was entirely unrehearsed, but 3 of these detectives had just come in from a very important arrest. One of them was a drug raid, and the other was a larceny. And here's another citizen in Paterson just walking down the street, Alfred Acevedo. Mr. Acevedo, you represent part of the new citizens of Paterson. You came from Puerto Rico, didn't you?
That's correct, John.
And what town was that?
I was in the town of Rincon.
And how long have you lived in Paterson?
I live in Paterson for the last 23 years.
You find that things are improving, don't you, slightly here in town?
Very much. For the last 10 years, there's been a lot of improvement in the city.
And you work in the municipal court, don't you?
I sure do.
So I suppose you don't have much choice but to say what you think is right.
I say what I believe it is right.
And you like the city?
Very much.
Well, Mr. Newman, here's one of the new citizens we've been talking about. Perhaps you might want to ask him a question or so. Alfred Acevedo. Very fine citizen.
He's answered it.
Well, you've answered it, Alfred, and I want to wish you the best of luck, and I'm going to be at your child's baptism next Saturday.
Yes,
I understand
I hope so.
I'm the godfather.
Yes, sir, you are.
Well, I
Happy New Year.
appreciate the honor. There's the prosecutor over there, Mr. Acevedo.
Is there a lot of tension between different groups here in the city?
Always has been friction, but curiously enough, we don't have much friction here. That's one of the amazing things about this city. There's very little friction in Paterson. Little girl, let me ask you a question. Do you like Paterson? It's a nice town, isn't it?
Yes.
And where do you go to school?
School 6,
Patterson,
New Jersey.
I used to go to school 6. Is it still on Carroll Street? Well, what's your name?
Luella
Oh, Luella. What's your last name?
Johnson.
There's Luella Johnson, entirely unrehearsed, points out she likes Patterson, and went to school number 6. Very nice school. She's using one of these new chartreuse-colored tennis balls. The color is definitely bilious.
I won't come back here. No, I don't hate it. I figure that they want the people to live, so that's what they're doing. Because me, as soon as I collect enough money, I'm going to be living in Paterson. I'm going to California, I'm going for good.
The charter speaks of Paterson's inhabitants to be, because in the entire area that now comprises the city of Paterson, there were 10 farms and some Indian fishers and trappers.
The problem was that we were not allowed to manufacture anything. We had to send the raw materials to England. They manufactured it and shipped it back to us. You see, Hamilton was here several times during the Revolution. When they were camped up there, he came down to the falls, and he was impressed with the water power of the falls. For a manufacturing town, that's how we got Paterson.
Paterson is unique among the cities of the world, but only Paterson starts at the very beginning with the idea that it is to be an industrial city, that its citizens are to be technologists and workers, and that its product is not to be left to chance, but certain items are to be produced in a necessary volume. Nothing like this had ever happened before. In the beginning, Paterson was the second greatest spinner of cotton yarn in the United States.
And then secondly, the marvelous success of the locomotive industry. Oh yes, those locomotives went all over the world. They even went to Russia.
Then, in 1837, in April, Samuel Colt came here, and he built a Colt mill to put out firearms, rifles, and pistols.
Then the next business, of course, was the skill and the development of the jacquard or the weaving of silk. So Paterson became the silk city.
Certainly it was the archetype of every industrial city in the nation and contributed mightily to American prosperity. And Paterson did become exactly what it was designed to be.
This is a tradition in the city of Paterson, as it is throughout the entire United States, to take a little time on this day each year to think about the young men who gave their lives so that our country can be free. We've heard in recent times a great deal of criticism about war, condemnation of war, and it is true, we all admit that it's a terrible thing. But history has shown that there are times when a nation must fight a war in order to remain free. And we are extremely fortunate that these young men were willing to give their lives so that our country could remain free. Because the simple truth is that if they had not fought,
we would not be free. We would not be in this park today. We would be an occupied country, and America as we know it would no longer exist.
And these beautiful, beautiful old houses that were built with the fortunes made in the War of 1812. Sundays, people took walks after supper. It was still not so stylish to have dinner at night. And so you would see couples strolling along, young and old. The evenings were as if you were in a suburb or possibly in Paris, taking a walk.
There is no human villain responsible for the degradation of Paterson. There were some bad men. There were some greedy men. There were some very remarkable men like John Ryle and John Rogers and John Colt and Weidman and even the Barbours from Ireland, all contributing to the prosperity of Paterson. And the 19th century immigrant and Native American wasn't looking for beauty or comfort. He was looking for something to put into his belly.
Kids were going in the silk mill 8, 9, 10 years old, and they worked 12 to 16 hours a day.
Well, not only cheap and purchasable, but also, it's wicked to say, but they can't help it, you know, the very low class of people that came into Paterson.
The attitude of the industrialists, to a large degree, was that we are providers to ignorant people, and therefore, you know, they have to be content with what is here.
Paterson was built not with the federal government. It was built by people who came here to work, by men who were willing to invest their funds into factories, dye houses, offices, stores, and I have greater faith in them, in the regular people, than I do in these federal programs.
Too many walk around a Paterson, if you will, and say, by heavens, you know what this city was like 40 years ago? It was a different kind of city, and I liked it then. It was very, well, that time is gone. Should we be trying to build what we were in 1932 or 3 or 4? Or should we be assessing what a city should be for today and tomorrow? What is the role of the city in our society? What should it be?
It was not until the waves of Caribbean and Southern peoples came into the city and changed its complexion that the few remaining old-timers began to say, we've had a treasure here and we have permitted it to slide from our hands. I haven't been able to talk to the newcomers, but they appear, from the way I observe how they live, not to be interested in the history of this city. And now the beauty has either been removed or has been corrupted by the lack of appreciation of the people who are occupying the premises.
About the past, they really knew nothing. And if the people have lost touch with what it is, then we have to bring them together again. And we have to refresh their minds.
How people have to get together to change the system, not the rugged individualistic approach that we've been taught, you know, and John Wayne, Abe Lincoln. That's all in the past.